Listen, after reading Psychology of Money, now this book is the next book I'd recommend you read. The book is I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. And this is the one I have is the second edition, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it is the second edition. This book it has gems. If you're beginning your journey on personal finance and how to manage your finance, this book has a lot of value. The gems in this book, you will not regret why you read this book. And if you Google Ramit Sethi, I think he has a YouTube channel on the same. But please, even if you go to his YouTube channel, make sure you read this book. And then what I love about this book, it has like people testimony on how it's benefited them from employing the strategies that were here. So the good thing about this book is it's like gives you step by step on where to start, what to do. If you follow the step by step guidance in this book, you will have a very balanced portfolio, and you'll also have a very balanced way of growing your finances and even growing in your personal finance journey. This book, amazing. And especially if you are in America or in the Western culture, in the Western part of the world, most of the strategies kept here, the banks, also the companies, there are companies that they exist there. So even if you just copy it step by step, you'll find that at the end of this book and after implementing all these steps, even your net worth will be higher than the way you were before. Now, maybe the disadvantage, according to me, that I found in this book is some of the strategies or some of the steps you cannot implement them directly as they are in other parts. For example, here in Kenya where I am, you cannot like implement it the way it is. However, you can tweak it, or you can manipulate, you can adjust it. You can adjust it to fit the country that you are in. However, I will teach you to be read. This is a good book. It gives you steps by step. Do this, open this account. After opening this account, open this account, put money here, structure this, structure that. It's as if you're having a personal coach work with you, only that coach is inside this book. So I will encourage anyone, after reading Psychology of Money, read this book. I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Very good. And one of the things that I like the most about in this book, and I implemented, although not directly, I tweaked it a bit, is the way there's a recommendation, I think it is in page 290, where it's like a scientific way, or the figures of percentage on how you should ensure that your portfolio looks like your investment portfolio, how it should look like. Around page 90 there, 20% should go to rates, 15% should go to government bonds, and then 65% should go to stock market. Now, hapa kwa stock market kidogo mimi 65, now on a personal level, the 65% is a bit on the higher side for me. I cannot do 65% in the stock market. Again, my risk appetite iko chini kabisa. I cannot. I am still not yet there. But according to some scientists, and if you read page 290, you'll find they recommend that 65% should be in the stock market. Now, for me, 65% cannot. So I tweaked it a bit. I prefer government bonds to stock market. Now, I know for those who are in Kenya, there's some people who are scared government bonds. They're like, alafu, if things go south. And then, so at least when you read the book and when you read his reasons and the reasons why they recommend this, at least then you can tweak it, the percentage to the way you want to. So for me, for the stock market, 65% was too high. But again, this will differ from one person to another. And then what I love about when here under the stock market, it is because of this book that it was the first time I was interacting with concepts like ETFs and index fund. Since I was born until this age, I did not know kuna vitu zinaitwa ETFs and index fund. To make even matters worse, kumbe they exist in Kenya. I did not know. So because I read this book, I was enlightened. I was like, oh. And then the advantage of ETFs and index fund is it enables you to invest in the stock market, but in a less risky way. So like most people, when they buy shares in the stock market, they go to individual shares. You find that somebody has bought a share in this company, company X, and then this person has a share in company Y, and then they have a share in company A. So if company A goes down, pesa yake imeenda hivyo. If company X goes down, pesa yake imeenda hivyo. Like, that is the loss. So that is the now disadvantage of individual stocks, is that if a company fails, if a company is finished, you're also finished. You're also finished with that company, because your money has gone down the drain just like that. Now, instead of having individual stocks, you can invest in ETFs or index fund. So ETFs or index fund, you are investing into the stock market. Only that, instead of buying shares in one company, if, for example, you buy shares, I'm using Kenyan shillings, 10,000, that 10,000 shillings will be distributed to different companies. So instead of like buying 10,000, if I take my 10,000 and then I buy shares worth 10,000 in company A, if you got the ETFs or index fund way, you will buy, it will be distributed to across very many companies. So even if company, maybe you have company A, B, C, D, E in that ETF or index fund. So if company A goes down, you still have B, C, D, E. So you see, at the end of the day, your chances of losing your money imeshuka. So that is the advantages of ETFs and index fund versus individual stock. So if you're going to like 65% in stock market, the easiest way is to have your money in the ETFs or in the index fund. That way you protect your money from disappearing, even to all of it at once, even to. So now that's it. But again, as an individual, I'm like, you can't go wrong with having an egg here and an egg there, having your eggs in different baskets. So for me, I'm like, you can have a little, very little percent of your portfolio in individual stocks, and then a larger part out of this 65%, you can perhaps do like 20% or 25% in individual stocks, and then 40% in ETFs or index fund. So that way, even if you're investing in 65%, at least you know that your money is safeguarded. Now let me tell you, I learned all this because of reading this book. And I'm like, oh. And then I realized that in Kenya, we also have them. So in Kenya, I don't know if they're ETFs or index fund, but there is one. When you go to Nairobi Stock Exchange, there is NSE 15, like the top 15 companies. Now, if you buy shares in the NSE 15, you are basically buying shares at this, using your same amount of money, you are buying shares in all the 15 companies. So if one company goes down, you still have 14. If two companies goes down, you still have 13. And never ever have all the companies go down like that, at least not that I know of. So benefit kabisa of now your stock market. How did I know all this? Come on, guys, I told you, by reading this book. And I've not even scratched the surface. If you think I'm telling you everything in this book because I've talked about ETFs and index fund, no. On a personal level, this is one of the things that blew my mind, because I was like, what? Again, because stock markets, they intrigue me. I still have jitters about it, but at least by learning about it pole, the jitters is fading away, and by the grace of God, sooner or later, maybe I will go deep in there. However, my favorite chapter in this book, it was not on the ETFs, no. My favorite chapter on this book ilikuwa on the chapter that talks about conscious spending. That should be chapter 4. Let me see, is it chapter 4? Chapter 4, chapter 5 there, conscious spending. Hey, I know, tumesikia tukiambiwa, we have always been told, check how you spend your money, don't spend your money, but when you read this chapter 4 or 5, conscious spending, it gives you the freedom to spend your money. And not only to spend your money, but it also like shows us how sometimes we spend our money on things that don't really matter to us. It might matter to those around us, it might matter to a friend, but in real sense, it doesn't matter to us. That is why either you end up overspending, because now you have to spend on things that you love, and then you're also spending on things that you could care less about, or because maybe your finances does not allow you to, you spend on things that you don't like, and then at the end of the day, you're there, hata pesa yangu hainisaidii, and you're like, hata I can't feel the benefit of my money, and then you end up telling yourself, unasevia nani, eat all your money. Yeah, what if tomorrow never comes? So when you look at conscious spending, it encourages us as the readers that spend your money where you truly want to spend your money, or spend your money in whatever you love. Like after you've set apart money for saving, you've set apart money for investing, you've paid your school fees, you've paid your rent, you've bought food and all that stuff. Now when it comes to that allocation where you have, like, for pleasure, the money you set out for pleasure, now where do you take that money for pleasure to? For example, I love reading books. As you can see, I really love reading books. Getting these hard copies, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. It is not cheap at all, especially here where I am at. It is not cheap. They're very expensive. So if you come, even my mother is like, you bought all those books with that money. Why? So she does not understand. Yet for me, this is my guilty pleasure. I love reading books. I love both fiction and non-fiction. I love reading books. So for me, this is my guilty pleasure. For someone else, they'll be like, what? Especially where I'm at, not in Kenya, but where I'm at. Sometimes when somebody finds you reading a book, they're like, you're that bored. Are you that bored? So they think that you only read a book when you're bored. But for some of us, the way I love watching movies, so the same way I watch movies is the same way I read books. Whether it is a novel, whether it's non-fiction, I simply love reading books. So I don't mind spending money on books for me. For another person, it's buying clothes. Now we will judge you. I myself will judge you. If you keep buying clothes more than you can wear, I will judge you. But why care? That is conscious spending. Perhaps you'll rather buy clothes than eat out. There are other people, they love eating out. Find them in all the fancy restaurants, even if it's not a fancy one. They have that. And then you'll find that some people telling you, yani, you mean you've taken 1,000 shilling. Umeenda ukakula tu nje. Kwani you don't know what to do with that money. So you see, here we are bashing you, like, why are you spending that 1,000 on eating out? Perhaps for you, that is how you tell yourself, unapigia mwili pole. That is how you comfort yourself. That is how you celebrate yourself working hard, by eating out. Now for someone else, what they enjoy is taking that 1,000 shillings and cooking at home. Now you will force yourself to cook at home. You don't know how to cook, and you don't even like it, and you don't even enjoy it. Now conscious spending will teach you how to save for the things you like. Now, if you really love eating out, you need to save for it. Don't eat out at the expense of your school fees. Usioko huko nje unacheza kwa restaurants and fees you've not paid. It won't make sense. So after you've handled the mandatory, you've paid school fees, you've bought clothes for children, you've done all that you need to do, you've saved, you invested. Now the money that you set apart for your guilty pleasure, now that money, you can spend it however you want to, as long as you have saved for it. And enjoy yourself. As they say, you only live once. We are here judging you, and it is your life. If you want to buy all the clothes, if you want to, if that is what makes you happy, and if you have planned yourself and saved enough for that. If you like to explore all the restaurants, do it. It is your life, mama. Do it. Do it. Don't be here trying to do things that don't make you happy, and then at the end of the day, you feel like, asa pesa yangu hata inisaidii. So that chapter was amazing. Again, remember, it does not mean you waste money. Put money where needs should go. Do the first things first, and then that small portion that you have allocated for your guilty pleasure, do the things that make you happy. I will teach you to be rich. Nani. If you've not read this book, don't worry. That's why we are here. We are here for you. Check out the link and get yourself a soft copy version of this book. And at the end of each chapter, there's a step for you to take. If you've not opened a certain account, you'll open it. Now again, some of the accounts they mention here may not apply in Kenya. However, you can tweak it to open like your own accounts. For example, if they're opening any, you can just tweak it to on a personal level that will suit for you, either in Kenya or wherever it is that you are at. But this book, it's a must read, worth of your time. You will enjoy reading this book, and it does not waste your time. In short, get this book, link in bio, check it out.